watching us on KUAM TV8 or streaming us live on Facebook, we welcome you to the show because the shocking news out of the northern village of Dedido leads our broadcast as an elderly woman was knocked out and robbed on Thanksgiving Day, and police are asking you to help them catch the criminal who did it. Chris Barnett has our top story.
One woman spent the Thanksgiving holiday in the hospital after she was robbed at work yesterday in Dedido around 9:45 in the morning. Police have not identified the victim of the robbery that took place at Bajado's barbershop, but they did say a 61-year-old woman was knocked out by a robber who's still at large. That robber fleeing the scene with the woman's bag. GPD again asking for the public's help in solving this latest crime. Sergeant Paul Tapau.
She was alone in the establishment and she was assaulted from behind by an unknown man. The description of the individual is only described as heavy-set, black curly hair, and he stands around 5 foot 8 inches in height, and he was last seen leaving the area on a mountain bike.
Preliminary police reports reveal the woman was unresponsive at the scene when medics arrived, but was semi-conscious upon arrival at GRMC. The barbershop remained closed this morning. A neighboring business, Cool Garden Restaurant, told us they'd been preparing Thanksgiving catering yesterday and didn't see or hear anything. Police detectives plan to review security camera footage from homes and businesses in the area, and Tapau is hopeful someone may have noticed a heavy-set man riding a mountain bike while holding a woman's bag.
It's a very busy time, being that it's Thanksgiving morning, so you have a busy intersection, and we are asking the community, should they have witnessed or have seen this individual in the direction where he went, if they can call the Guam Crime Stoppers or submit a tip online at guam.crimestoppersweb.com.
Meanwhile, Dedido Mayor Melissa Savara says village residents are frustrated and up in arms because the robbery comes just a couple weeks after the sexual assault of a young girl. Both crimes happened on the same street, and the mayor says residents are already on alert and looking out for anything suspicious.
I am frustrated because these are happening, just in the same area. It's got to be somebody that knows the area and lives there even, but sees what's going on all the time. The residents are up in arms. They're protected. They turn their lights on now at night. They're always looking out. Their dogs are out, as they're alarmed. We're trying to do as much as protection as we can, but everybody looks out every time they hear a sound.
We asked the mayor if she's satisfied with the police presence in her village. She told us that only 4 officers are available to patrol the northern part of Guam.
GPD is working on increasing the number of police officers, the presence of police officers here, but I don't know how else. Everybody has their lights on. This happened in the early morning, in the middle of the daylight.
GPD is asking anyone with information to call police dispatch at 472-8911 or 475-8615 through 17. For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
Also, in relation to the story we broke yesterday, an inmate found unresponsive in his cell at the Department of Corrections on Wednesday has died. That official word comes from the agency today by way of a release as corrections officers assigned to the special housing unit discovered the inmate unresponsive in his cell, who was then transported to Naval Hospital in Agana Heights. He passed away on Thanksgiving Day. The release said a police report was properly filed with DOC's Internal Affairs section investigating the incident. Well, the Department of Administration, in other news, has released information from Aetna in response to a story the KUAM News aired. Physician Dr. Vince Akimoto and fellow colleague Dr. Tom Shea said doctors are concerned about Aetna paying clinics and patient coverage by the off-island company that won the $108 million sole source health insurance contract for the public sector. DOA said Aetna has paid 89% of claims, totaling nearly $2 million. Aetna also said, according to DOA, that 508 applications for off-island care were approved. The release additionally said Aetna started processing claims on the 4th of this month, following the completion of open enrollment on October the 12th. Meanwhile, Shea says he hasn't been paid by Aetna, saying he spoke with several local physicians who also have not been paid. One doctor says he's only been given $4,000 and has had several non-payments from the company. To federal court now, the U.S. opposes plaintiff Sedfrey Linsangen's motion for a preliminary injunction that would restrain the defendant from moving forward with the Agriculture Improvement Act of 2018, as Linsangen's complaint seeks to extend the prohibition of animal fighting to include live bird fights. That prohibition takes place on December 20th of this year. The United States argues the plaintiff's request fails because it does not show there's a likelihood of success and because it did not establish irreparable harm. Court documents state, and I quote, "Congress is well within its constitutional bounds in enacting the legislation at issues." Linsongen filed the complaint against the U.S. on November 7th to exempt the island from the farm bill that bans cockfighting, arguing it's in violation of the constitutional rights of the people here on the territory. Well, same government, different agency as Public Health's main facility over in Mineola remains closed until further notice. It was, of course, shut down on Thanksgiving Eve by the fire department as a safety precaution after smoke was seen coming from the central facility. And today, employees could be seen moving out files and equipment. Main office personnel and key services are being moved to other public health locations, with Agency Director Linda Pinco-DeNorsi having an update on the situation.
Our whole staff that are housed in Manila have been moving all their computers and things that are very essential for them to get up and running as quickly as possible, and moving into the northern, the southern, and also to Castle Mall, so we can squeeze in and just keep services operating.
She's also been canvassing for office space to lease for other staff. The facility remains a safety hazard for the time being, and there is no timeline when or if it will reopen. Director DeNorsi says Public Works is doing an assessment of the 46-year-old building to determine what exactly needs to be done.
And then from there, we'll take a look at what the bottom line is as far as the cost, and then we have to assess, what we're going to do. Is it worth going back and doing all this repair or renovation? So that has not yet been determined.
Meanwhile, those applying for services such as the 2019 birth certificates, marriage licenses, and death certificates, along with burial permits and prior authorizations for Medicaid and the MIP program, should go to the Castle Mall office on University Lane, right across the street near UOG. Applications for SNAP, cash assistance, Medicaid, MIP, and child care development are being accepted at the Northern Health Center and at the Castle Mall. For more information, you can call 635-4422. That's 635-4422. Well, in commercial news, the day after Thanksgiving is typically the day designated for shopping deals, as our Adriana Cotero checked out Black Friday.
Some stores' doors opened as early as midnight, while others stayed on their regular hours. Home Depot opened at 6 a.m., having their parking lot full all day. All cashiers were open, and the line remained controlled. Chaos, that is what is typically foreseen for Black Friday shopping. However, this year was unlike previous. KUAM stopped in DNA Evolution and Stussy, both located in the plaza. Store manager Jarrett Castro says it's been really calm.
I feel like a lot of the customers are really focusing on online shopping and maybe elsewhere. I did a little survey throughout other retail friends, and I asked how their stores are going, and they said the turnout is definitely lower than last year. So we're trying to all figure out kind of why, but it's exciting to still see the people that really do care and want to come and have tangible experiences, and it's really fun to see.
Offering that experience, these two privately owned stores opened an entire Black Friday room of sales only steps away from their stores. DNA Evolution sales also included a local brand, explains Castro.
We're catering on the brand that we collaborated with Island Day, so it's something that we've created on our own. We have some mixed multi-brand that we've carried throughout our regular store and that we brought into you, but our main focus this year is a lot of Guam product. This year we really kind of listened for the past couple of years to the customers that really wanted to send stuff off island or kind of just give gifts that are more so catered to the islands.
These clothing items started as little as $5 and are flat rate pricing. Castro says they have had a few lines at the door, but staff members are regulating the entrances.
We're so happy to see that a lot of our returning customers came, just because we didn't do so much marketing this year, but it was nice to see a really nice line.
These stores are open until regular closing hours, 11 p.m., with deals going all day long. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
We're going to take a little break, but please stay tuned. We will be back right after this.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
At the mall as you enjoy your shopping, dining, or entertainment. You could also win 3 great cars from Atkins Kroll and thousands of prizes in Micronesia Mall's Cars, Prizes, and Getaways game. Present your mall receipts and have a chance to win the renowned performance Chevrolet Camaro, the unapologetic rugged Toyota 4Runner, or the head-turning Lexus ES350 Luxury. Getaways to Manila, courtesy of Philippine Airlines, plus prizes from Foot Locker and Burger King. The more you shop, the more chance to win in Micronesia Mall's Cars, Prizes, and Getaways game.
We we value relationships. Because when we commit,
I love you guys until you're 80, until you're 90, until you're 100, forever.
we are in it for the long run. So you can enjoy the moments that matter. Because when we commit to relationships, we never stop caring. Calvo's Select Care, health care that is always there for you. Federal employees and annuitants enroll today.
Matson is in this community. We've been in this community for decades. We're gonna be in this community for decades to come. Things will get busy, things will get quiet, but we're gonna be here. We're your hometown carrier. And that matters to us.
Reliability is the core of our business. We take pride in ensuring that we arrive in Guam on time as scheduled.
It's our local employees who understand the market, who understand the business, and provide that hard work for you each and every day.
When we hold ourselves to high standards, our customers also hold us to high standards. We establish good business relationships that turn into friendships. That's why it's so important to be here and be trusted by your customers. We want you to trust Matson like your friend, like your family.
It's a special delivery to your inbox every week with your KUAM News Roundup, program advisories, and promotions. Sign up for the weekly KUAM Digital Digest today on KUAM.com.
Welcome back, friends, to Primetime. Proposed legislation to compel critical capital improvement spending for the hospital underwent a public hearing today. Sponsor Therese Terlahi says the fiscal year 2020 budget appropriates some $10 million for these said fixes, but she has been a bit skeptical that it will actually be spent.
I don't think the money has been deposited into this fund at this point, although the law says it shall be deposited. And so we may hear, we're going to wait until the audit's done. We're going to wait until we pay $83 million in deficit before this money gets deposited.
Thank you, Senator Lai.
The administration has said publicly it intends to use any excess revenue over projecting to pay down the government's accumulated deficit. But Terlahi said she was frustrated with the mixed messages and the fact that no one from the administration showed up to offer testimony.
And what the legislature and the people of Guam need and deserve is a very clear message. Are we going to fix this? Even if we're going to build a new hospital, are you going to fix the roof for the next 5 years, or are we going to continue to have leakages while we have patients in critical care there?
Her bill specifically identifies a trifecta of critical priorities that the hospital and the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare have said need to be addressed. They are the major leaks in the roof, an old and risky electrical panel, and a soon-to-be obsolete electronic health records system. Speaking of the legislature, senators also discussed a bill to establish a dedicated funding source for the island's participation in the Festival of the Pacific Arts. Officials want to spend some $400,000 to send 100 artists to Honolulu, Hawaii next year. But critics say the money would be better spent helping artists promote their work right here at home. Nestor Lecanto explains in our next report.
The bill by Senator Kelly Marsh Taitano identifies the Arts in Public Building program as the funding source. That's the law that requires companies that get qualifying certificate tax breaks to spend 1% of their construction or renovation costs on local art. Currently, the law doesn't allow the money to be used for travel. Marsh Taitano would make an exception for FESPAC.
With FESPAC being the largest cultural and traditional arts program that our community participates in, it only makes sense to allow KAHA the flexibility that, when their board deems it prudent and necessary, that they have the authority and ability to use some of the percent of the arts monies to ensure the success of our participation in FESPAC.
KAHA board member Judy Flores explains the importance of FESPAC for local artists.
The artists are so inspired by FESPAC. And I did a whole doctoral thesis on the impact of FESPAC on building the inspiration, the identity, the renaissance of the arts on Guam because of what they saw at FESPAC. They brought it home.
But others, such as Ken Leon Guerrero, oppose the bill, saying artists would be better off if KAHA provided more places and opportunities for them to promote and display their work locally.
We'd see more art created by local artists. We'd see more people enjoying the art. And that would do more for strengthening our identity, for encouraging artists and developing artists, than sending 100 people to Honolulu will.
And some senators also said while they support sending a delegation, they were concerned about the funding and the need for delegates to help out with more fundraising. Committee Chairman Senator Joe San Augustine.
When my colleagues talk about the budget, understand your fiduciary responsibility, manage it correctly. You know the money's scarce. Don't come running to the legislature saying we need additional funding because we poor planning. The monkey won't be on our backs.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
And we stay with policymaking as some 8 new laws are now on the books. 3 of the bills signed by the governor provide increased protection against criminal offenders. Senator Amanda Shelton sponsored 2 of them, one protecting the elderly and disabled from financial exploitation, the other requiring convicted sex offenders to be placed on the sex offender registry even as they appeal their convictions. Another bill sponsored by the aforementioned Senator Therese Terlahi ensures pre-sentence reports and assessments are prepared by the parole board before offenders are released. Also signed was Speaker Tina Munia-Barnes' bill to update the rules and regulations for premise digital signs in Tumon. Senator Telo Taitigui's bill creating a task force to recommend renovations at the hospital also lapsed into law. Governor Leon Guerrero said the reviews of GMH's structural viability is already underway by the U.S. Army of Engineers. Well, there's some regional headlines for you now. Here's Ashley and KSPN 2 News.
Hafa Guam, here are the headlines for CNMI. Associate Judge Joseph Camacho set bail at $25,000 for 18-year-old Austin Areola. On Tuesday, November 26th, Department of Public Safety officers responded to New Majestic Restaurant in Garapan for a reported burglary and theft. The owners of the restaurant showed officers the shattered window and said they saw 2 males running away from the establishment and that money had been taken. Later that night, officers pulled into the 520 restaurant, where 2 males were identified that matched the description. Officers brought the owner of the New Majestic Restaurant to the location, who identified Areola and a minor as the 2 who robbed his establishment. Areola and the minor were arrested. A preliminary hearing is set for December 5th at 1:30 p.m. And also in the courtroom of Associate Judge Joseph Camacho, a female has a bail modification for trafficking a controlled substance, methamphetamine. 30-year-old Marjolaine Napati is released to the third-party custodians of her mother and brother. Court documents state on November 14th, K-9 units responded to an envelope at the Star Marianas cargo area destined for Tinian. The envelope had 5 small Ziploc baggies inside containing a clear substance addressed from Napati. The substance tested positive for the presence of meth. Bail is still set at $10,000 and the mother must post $300 of that. For more news, visit saipantv.com. For KSPN 2 News, I'm Ashley McDowell.
Back to Guam News headlines now, as the Hilton holiday train is now chugging along throughout the holiday season, as on Wednesday evening, the Hilton Guam Resort and Spa unveiled their annual train located in the Tumon Hotel's main lobby. There was a lot of fun and food for the family, and of course, a visit from jolly old St. Nick himself. This year, all proceeds from the train display benefit the nonprofit organization Autism Community Together. Now, the National Weather Service and Guam Weather Forecast Office are advising seas and winds are gradually diminishing as Typhoon Kamuri, it is now a typhoon, moves away from us. However, several advisories remain in effect for Guam and our friends up in the NMI. A high surf advisory is in effect through next Tuesday, as rip currents should persist through Saturday. A small craft advisory also remains in effect as well. Also, the community is reminded to avoid hazardous seas until conditions properly subside. Heed the advice of lifeguards, beach patrol, flags, and proper signs. Now, please stay tuned. Sports is coming up next.
Okay, so what are we thinking today?
I just need a trim.
Okay, well, luckily you are in great hands. Perfect.
The $1 stylist deal.
Is that it?
That's it.
Or you could get a real deal. McDonald's buy one get one for $1 deal is here. Buy one of your faves and choose another for just an extra $1. Choose from the Big Mac, filet of fish, quarter pounder with cheese, and 10-piece chicken McNuggets, but only for a limited time.
Guam is truly a majestic place with its sheer natural beauty, wealth of beaches, and culturally rich landscape. Unfortunately, Guam has a real problem with unwanted invasive species. Help us in preventing their introduction and spread. the coconut rhinoceros beetle, the little fire ant, the African snail, Siam weed. These are just a few of the numerous invasives on Guam. Follow proper custom procedures when bringing plants and animals into Guam.
Help protect Guam. Tell your family and friends about invasive species.
To report invasive species, call 475-PEST.
Holidays happening at Docomo Pacific's Red Friday. Purchase select phones on our popular Now program and choose a free gift, like free wireless earphones or huge discounts on the latest smartwatch. Prepaid friends get free load with select prepaid phones. And get a chance to win a Nintendo Switch when you take a selfie with our new AI dog, Spark. Come in for a happening holiday now. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
This week's Dow Rentone Athlete of the Week. Being Dow Rentone's Athlete of the Week, let's talk about the numbers. 7 medals, 4 years of competing.
Yes, sir.
You've competed in Las Vegas and Hawaii.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about the numbers that you've been putting up in the gym right now.
So I recently squatted 7, I think it was 711. It's the fastest and deepest I've ever done it, and I actually could have went more, but we're trying to save it for competition because the end goal for comp is 730 on that platform. I've been having struggles with past 630 on the competition, so we're trying to adjust and get it ready for the comp. Bench went up to 510 or 505 for a pause, which is actually pretty crazy because to pause anything over 400 is hard. And my deadlift is something that always been strong, but it hit a plateau for the last couple of months. Recently we adjusted my foot and my hand placement, and now we're pulling 690 at an easier RP, and it feels that we can get at least 710 to 720 competition time.
And, you know, those 7 medals, recently, your last competition, Hawaii, you were also able to put up some pretty big numbers.
Yeah, or Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah, so we were able to do a 645 squat, 474 bench, and 672 deadlift, and my total was 1791. It was close to an 1800 total that I've been chasing, and it was actually really good because we got first place and we got best lifter as well.
And this 308 weight class, if you do get your target numbers, you're automatically going to be put into the list of names for hopefully being placed amongst the top lifters in the nation.
Yeah, so at 275, I ranked number 3 in the drug tested in the world. And at this 308, it's not a tested meet, but it would qualify me for like the Anaheim Fit Expo, which I really want to do. And it would get me up to at least the top 20 if I do really good.
And what's that buzz been? I'm sure the promoters in Hawaii, have anybody reached out to you saying, hey, man, are you coming to the show? We can't wait to have you here and see the numbers that you're able to put up.
Yeah, so it's actually the promoter and I, we communicate on Instagram once in a while. But believe it or not, it's the people who are competing that are who are saying they're going to compete. They're messaging me like, hey, man, I can't wait to meet you. And these are people in Hawaii that we've never met. And to have another island try to support me, even if I'm going to represent Guam, but they want to see what kind of numbers I'm going to put up, it's like a pretty good feeling to know that we got support everywhere else besides Guam, you know?
The University of Guam Women's Basketball Black Friday tryouts for the spring season of 2020 and the fall academic year of 2020-2021 will be held tonight at 7 p.m. at the UOG Cabo Fieldhouse. The UOG Lady Tritons went 6-2 in their first season of women's basketball in over 20 years in the fall of 2019 and now face even more competition in the spring of 2020 with the 8-team Lady Triton Super League that starts in mid-January and the March Madness Tournament at Anderson Air Force Base later in the spring. Guam Sports Events Inc., organizers of the United Airlines Guam Marathon, unveiled a second mural at the Runners Oasis in Tumon to enhance the overall UGM experience. The Runners Oasis is a multi-purpose space in front of the Pacific Islands Club parking garage where runners can park, stretch, meet with friends, and cool down after a workout. The new mural was designed and painted by local artist Austin Domingo and features Domingo's signature lettering style and vibrant colors.
Mark is the best husband and father you could ask for. Right, mi amor?
My brother, he's just a big kid.
Great guy. Best man at my wedding. Just gotta keep him off the dance floor.
Uncle Mark's the best. He taught me how to seal a base.
He stopped playing.